it going, my friends? I figured for this one I would take a crack at doing a in-person grimoire-worthy video, since it is more interactive and, there's a first time for everything. So I wanted to cover a topic that is of crucial importance to the student of esoteric knowledge, and that is the process of self-initiation as it pertains to the modern individual dealing with some very particular environmental factors. So just about anybody who finds themselves experiencing a spiritual awakening in today's day and age will very quickly realize that the system that's in play that we find ourselves within has been designed and implemented to make damn sure that everyone is so distracted and so energetically drained at the end of each day that they possess nothing more than the will to get up and repeat the process the next day. Simply because if they don't, then they won't have the means to provide themselves and their families with their basic human needs. Those that are privileged enough to start tapping into their divine potential and into their divine essence, and it is an absolute privilege as well as a responsibility, but those that are and those that do will quite immediately realize the immense pressure and presence of this system that is seemingly governing every single aspect of our lives regardless of our personal comfort and happiness. And as violating of a thought as that is, this governing and this control reaches much deeper than just the physicality of the everyday work life. This control reaches into the psychological, the spiritual, and also the genetic levels. So if you are someone who's made your way to these esoteric communities and to this esoteric knowledge to any degree at all, you should never underestimate for a moment the absolute potential that even just that in itself holds within it. Because there have been extreme measures, and I mean extreme measures taken to make sure that you never awaken. And in many of your cases, these awakenings are already well underway. And naturally, the awakening individual in today's day and age will ask themselves in some words, how could I possibly dedicate fully and entirely to this path of awakening when I am forced to participate in these daily activities which are representative of a system that is hell-bent on keeping us in ignorance? Though, luckily enough, the solution to this whole conundrum lies within the problem itself, as it often does. In the words of Marcus Aurelius, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. One can either let the daily experience of having to participate in the system beat them down and suppress their higher nature, or through dedication and heightened awareness, they can utilize every moment of it towards their own growth and development. Even within the chaotic and stressful work life and within the mundane, seemingly lifeless social interactions that we come across. It is actually within all this chaos that one can uncover endless insight into the various unseen and normally unnoticed aspects of our everyday life. Whether it be the deception and corruption that we find all around us in physical life, all the way to the various non-physical planes of existence which are interacting with and influencing us all the time. By acknowledging, observing, and integrating these normally unnoticed aspects of our lives, we can start to take logical steps towards living a higher quality of life in whatever way that might be, because we'll have a more in-depth understanding of the bigger picture overall. One must naturally develop the ability to use everyday occurrences as a means of divination and communication with their higher nature. This intercommunication is crucial to one's development and to their process of awakening. However, it is intimately personal to the individual who is interpreting it. And because that is the case, one must undergo a tedious but absolutely mesmerizing process of learning how to read and interpret these communications, because they are very symbolic in nature. Through observation of oneself and their surroundings, they soon learn to read circumstances, interactions, relationships, and their own internal nature as if it were a book containing direct insight into the behind-the-scenes essence of any given moment in life, as well as direct communication from our internal nature pertaining to things like lessons that we're meant to learn at that point in time, questions we've asked our higher nature, and even opportunities into things that might lead to a higher quality of life in whatever way that might be. Efficiency in receiving and discerning this inner communication depends largely upon the gradual development of a constant state of heightened awareness. Almost like an ability to see through the illusion at any given moment, always looking for the hidden essence behind the circumstance, to the behind-the-scenes forces pulling the strings both physically and metaphysically. The Stoic philosophy refers to this constant state of heightened awareness as prosoche, described as the attitude and practice of attention, as well as mindfulness, focusing upon our sensations, emotions, thoughts, and bringing our awareness to the present moment. This state of heightened awareness, if nurtured and actively developed, will reveal layers upon layers of everyday life which before were completely unnoticed and which are still unnoticed by most everyone around us. Sometimes people tend to put themselves on autopilot when at work or when navigating through mundane life. Higher nature is creative, and the conditions of the system that we find ourselves within are far from suitable for creation. Therefore, sadly but naturally, many will assume their persona as their whole identity, because it's the only aspect of themselves that the world around them will accept. So they continue to suppress their creative passion, and after a while forget it exists entirely. On the path of awakening, one must become comfortable with being thought of as intense, crazy, or foolish, but never feel ashamed of the progress you've made and the knowledge you've gained just because the world around you aims to make you feel that way. Love, respect, and acknowledgement for the divine within all is worth much more than the approval of those who aren't capable of forming a mutual understanding. Find ways of giving yourself reminders throughout the day, reminders to focus upon your higher awareness and to not let autopilot sink in simply because you feel that you're in a seemingly fruitless situation, for there is indeed something to be taken from every moment. An essential part of developing this inner communication is keeping a journal or grimoire and writing down and observing our thoughts, actions, emotions, and interactions throughout the day, as well as the things that we observe in the world around us. Observation is key, so writing these things down that we observe throughout the day makes it so we can reflect upon them later after the chaos has died down a little bit. Write down any and all things that stick out to you throughout the day. Things that you say to people, things that people say to you, things that they say to each other, things that you notice happening around you, the nature of the relationships you have with the world around you, whether it be people or circumstances. Are these relationships healthy? Do they need attention? If so, why? It's important to understand that there is no right or wrong way to develop this inner communication because it is intimately personal to the person who is doing the interpreting. The things that we observe throughout the day, whether it be internally or within the world around us, will contain direct communication and insight from our higher nature. It's just a matter of being able to interpret it. The whole process is very individualized to the person at hand, whether that be specific rituals, specific meditations, specific means of artistic expression. Within all these different things, you will find the means of communication and your particular means of communicating. Worry not that you've got some kind of recipe wrong, because the recipe is very different for each person. The one and only absolutely constant factor within all of this is observation and awareness and its constant application. Thank you very much. I appreciate you guys. Much love.